Hey everybody, it's Michelle Ann Johnson with Speech Queen. I'm back, and I'm going to be reacting and commenting on a talk given by the amazing, the fabulous, the incomparable, there aren't too many epithets you could give this woman, the amazing Carla Harris, Managing Director of Morgan Stanley. There's so many things that she does right, and I'm going to point out just a few. And if you have the time, I highly recommend that you watch an entire video of her speaking. I'm going to be posting the link to this entire talk below. I'm only going to be going through the first 3 or 4 minutes or so, but you'll get a really good idea of what she does that just really makes her stand out as a presenter. So let's just jump right in.
It is really an honor to be here, and I thank Michael and Diane and the rest of the conference organizers for inviting me here to spend a few minutes with you talking about powerful, impactful, influential leadership. And they are part of what I like to call Carla's pearls, my hard-earned and hard-learned pearls after being a woman on Wall Street as of last summer for 30 years.
I'm tempted to just let this ride because she's so good. But let me just point out a couple of things that she's doing really well, and then we'll watch a little bit more. So first thing right off the bat is if you watched my video of Steve Jobs, I talked about how great speakers and great leaders also, they have a balance, a mix of complementary qualities. Call it likability and competence, or warmth and strength, hard and soft, however you want to label those diametrically opposed qualities. Great speakers have both. She has both. And one thing that makes her so likable, or a couple of things that make her likable, she's got an expressive face. She's not afraid to smile. She also uses humor really well. And let me just say a few words about humor. I've worked with a lot of people, a lot of managers, a lot of people in senior positions in organizations. And I must say, I don't think people use humor enough. Now, I'm not talking about coming out and just cracking jokes like you're a stand-up comic. That's not what I'm talking about at all. But humor can be so important. It can be used to make a point. It can be used, it really is a social lubricant. And there are a lot of studies that show that when people laugh, chemicals get released in the brain. It's basically dopamine. It's the reward chemical. And so your brain says, yeah, we want more of that. So if you are a speaker, you want your audience to be saying, yeah, I want more of that. So find a way to inject a little bit of humor. She uses it by going, my hard-earned pearls, right? So don't just come out and crack a joke. I've seen people do that too because they feel like if I get the audience laughing just for the sake of laughing, that will break the ice. I don't recommend that, but I do recommend using humor to make your point or further your point, which is what she does. She's also strong. She uses her lower register in her voice, so she's really using her chest voice down here, which I tend to use as well, and that makes her come across as very strong. She's kind of got this, likable drill sergeant going on, which I think really works for her because she uses it in a way it seems very authentic. So let's watch a little bit more.
I dare say, ladies and gentlemen, that I have learned a few things about not only surviving, but more importantly, thriving in the seat that you sit in or the seat that you aspire to sit in. And that's really what the pearls are all about. But as I am in a room full of leaders, I'd like to give you my perspective on what powerful, impactful, influential leadership looks like.
One more thing. So I think it was Steve Jobs as well. And when I pointed out that he used a slogan, I think it was about the iPhone, you really do have the internet in your pocket. Well, her slogan that she uses is powerful, impactful, influential leaders. And she said it a couple of times within the first 3 minutes of her talk. So again, it's just a really nice and easy way to distill your point down to, a sentence, 10 words or less, 5 words or less, powerful, influential, impactful leadership, or is it the other way around? All right.
Because you see, after 30 years, I've had the honor and privilege of taking lots of companies public, doing lots of large common stock transactions, convertible transactions, and I've had a bird's eye view of what I think powerful leadership looks like and not so much. And obviously, we are in an environment that is very dynamic. It is very innovative. It is changing faster than we have seen change in any of our lifetimes. And it demands a different type of leadership, especially for those of you who are like me, who are boomers in the room. We cannot be powerful leaders if we choose to manage the way that we were managed.
Great. Oh, she's so good. All right. Some other things that I would point out is she used humor again, if you notice. This time just with her voice. She said something like, I've had a bird's eye view of what impactful leadership is, and not so much, right? She just used contrasting her voice, and she used her body, her physicality, to make us laugh. So another great example of using humor. Now, it doesn't detract from the seriousness of what she's talking about. Again, it's using humor to further your point, not just for some gratuitous sake. So the other thing that I'll mention about Carla Harris is that I don't know if she's a dancer or she's an athlete, but she is really comfortable in her body, and she uses her body in a really natural but compelling way. Everything is connected. The way she uses her gestures supports what she's saying. So I have people asking me all the time, what should I do with my arms? What should I do with my hands? And the answer is, what's the point that you're trying to make? Create an emotional connection to that point, and your hands will follow. I guarantee you. It's really about the emotional connection. If you're not connected to your hands, it's because your ideas aren't connected to what you're saying, which isn't connected to your physicality. And the easiest way to connect all of that is through the emotions. So I think that's all I'm going to talk about for now. So some takeaways from Ms. Carla. Don't be afraid to use humor. Use it in a way that supports your point, that helps you make your point. Don't use it just for the sake of making a joke. Unless you're reacting to something, there's always an exception. Unless you're reacting to something that happens in the moment, then by all means, make a joke out of it. But if you're using humor in the natural course of your talk or presentation, make sure that it's supporting what it is that you're trying to get across. The connection with her body, that emotional connection, you can tell that she's passionate about what she's talking about. And you can tell that she's bringing her whole self into how she presents, and everything is connected. Her ideas are connected to her words, which are connected to her physicality. And don't be afraid to use those slogans: powerful, impactful, influential leadership. It just is a very succinct way of reminding people, here's what I'm talking about, here's the point I'm trying to make, here's what I want you to take away from what it is I'm communicating to you today. Hope this was helpful. Until the next video, everybody, be well.